Welcome to Guy Talk, conversations on life, work, and love for the modern maverick.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Guy Talk episode 2. Today on the call we've got Meg Kirwin, who's my homegirl from Wales. We've grown up together, we've been pretty much inseparable for 10 or 15, maybe 20 years. And now Meg is, she's studying cello in Birmingham, she's a musician. And I wanted to get Meg on today because she's had some interesting relationships with men in the past. And from conversations that we've had, she certainly has some interesting ideas about what it means to be a man of excellence, and how we can aspire to be more connected with women in general in life. I'd like to introduce Meg. Hi Meg.
Hi.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Meg is sporting a wicked fringe, like very hipster.
Thanks.
She's gone all hipster. Cool. First things first, really, I'll just kickstart this off by asking Meg, what does being a man of excellence look like to you?
A man of excellence. I was thinking about this. The thing I came up with was presence, as we've said, and honesty. And my ideal relationship with a guy would be someone who is able to be present in the moment, to be intimate, not afraid to be intimate. I'm not afraid to meet you in this place that I think women need. How did I put it?
I think that's beautiful. We've talked a lot in the past about presence and honesty. So that'd be a really nice starting point, really, to dig a little deeper. I think being present with what comes up in life is one of the biggest challenges that we all have to face.
Yeah.
And certainly from personal experience, when I come up against things that are particularly tough, it's very easy for me, and I'm sure a lot of guys will relate, to run away and try and shut off and almost ignore the issues that come up with women, with life, with work. So
yeah, I think women. I think our response quite often is to meet it and to sort of work it out and try and find the issue. And my experience is, not with every man, but quite often with younger men, that they want to. It's just, that's it. It's done. Throw it away. It's not. Don't want it anymore because it's difficult. And I think a lot of my experience comes from, in this is that I've been left like, what the fuck? We went through all of this together and then it got hard and you just leave, and that's your response to it. So I think a man of excellence to me is embracing that difficulty and grabbing the bull by the horns, embracing it and just going deeper when it gets harder, when it gets more and more difficult. You just you go into it rather than out of it. I
love that, Meg. I absolutely love that. For me, what it sounds like, what you're talking about here is tension.
Yeah, it is, which is not a new concept, right? That's relationships. That's humanity, is having. You have to have tension with someone. You can't, if two people are of the same opinion, then one of those opinions is wasted, right? This is like my new thing at the moment, is that the people in your life have to challenge you in some way. You have to challenge each other. You have to be able to. Yeah, you have to be able to disagree, because that's what forms you. That's what forms your ideas. That's what helps you, form how you're going to live in the world. And I think, so like going back to this man of excellence thing, like a guy who can who isn't afraid. I think women are very much all about creating relationships, and women are, that's what we need. We are communicative animals. We are designed to create families. We're designed to recreate bonds and relationships. And I think, maybe it's down to biology, maybe, but it's, I think, a lot of social norms nowadays. It's about, men have to go off and they have to go and have a career and they have to create loads of money, and and it's not, I think it creates a lot of unhappy people, because it's avoiding that and avoiding the relationship, avoiding it creates a lot of avoidance of relationships, and and in insecure relationships as well, if that makes any sense.
It's fantastic. It's a thought that I've had a lot recently as well, is that we guys, we tend to avoid this realm of relationships, especially with women, and we do tend to put all of our energies into careers or into a pursuit of something or another. And it sounds to me that what you're saying is that if we could use some of that energy that guys have, that kind of tenacity, and focus that on relationships, something really, really beautiful could be created.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another thing I've been having a conversation with one of my male friends with at the moment is how much is too much? Is having the simple life okay? I've just sort of come to the realization that all I want in my life is a farm. I want a farm that I can do baking on, that I can grow a garden, and from that, hopefully encourage people to come and learn about stuff, come and learn about gardening, come learn about music, have sort of that community space. But it was quite a realization to go, you know what? It's okay. It's okay that I want to go back to the country. It's okay to want a farm. That's not giving up, and it's not. It's maybe that just that simplicity. And the thing I think at the moment I'm struggling with, like, there's a part of me that wants to be individual and wants to be strong and on my own and independent. But there's also that part of me that wants a family. I want a relationship. I want to find that person who I connect to, and I just, and find your soulmate, whatever you want to call it. And I think a lot of, and maybe it's not just young men, it's young women as well now. It's, what is okay, and is it okay to, maybe it's too much to want a massive career and the big house, and how meaningful is that? How meaningful is it to want to make loads of money and, have the car and all this stuff? Is that what you want from your life? Is that what's going to matter later on? And I think the men that I find really attractive, the men, I was thinking about this as well. Music is such it's such a funny thing, but you get a lot of ladies' men in music, but it's not in this kind of sleazy way. Rostropovich, phenomenal Russian cellist. He was like known for adoring women, and women adored him. And I know some male cellists who are, I don't know, in their 40s, and I find them attractive, not in a kind of weird way. It's that they are talented and they are passionate. They are so passionate about and dedicated to what they do. And there's something gritty about that. There's something that has traction that I think which creates good relationships, is having a passion, having something that requires you to be in the moment a lot of the time. With music, you are there, you are working like a dog, trying to get this thing right, trying to create these muscle memories. You have to, and I think that's why musicians are always so attractive, because it develops that willpower and that sticking power in them. And I mean, gross generalization, absolute gross generalization. Not everyone is like that, but idealistically. And it can create some sort of selfishness, I think. A lot of musicians can be very selfish, and I certainly struggle with that. But I think, it's passion, finding something that makes you want to work like a dog at it. And I think that then can translate to relationships, and you have that ability to, as you said, like, go into it when it gets really tricky. Yeah, I think.
Wow. Wow, Meg, you've done it again. I think that's a phenomenal insight. And it's funny, because what I'm hearing is this paradox in a way, in the sense that we've just said 5 minutes before that what you're looking for is a guy that can really meet you head on in a relationship and really commit to going there when he needs to, and put absolutely all that energy in. But to the extent that he might be doing in his career, say. And then
absolutely.
What we're saying now is that in order to have that understanding of what it takes to be that intense and intimate and committed with your relationship, you need to have cultivated that ability in other areas of your life. So you need to have found some kind of passion. You need to have found some kind of purpose for your life that enables you to exercise that kind of work ethic, if you like, but that drive, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, exercise that willpower. I think we had, when we had this conversation, do you remember, with my dad, and we were talking about Iron John, and we were talking about how a lot of young men, we feel, when Dad has said through his work with all these young men, that they feel kind of emasculated, and there's kind of like I feel that, maybe I'm wrong, in sort of previous, past years, there's been a demasculinizing, is that the right word, of men, where they're not allowed to be powerful because that's oppressive. And I think that's wrong. Yes, there has been oppressive. There has been oppression, of course there has. It's been shit, but it's this kind of equalizing that masculinity equals oppression, or that masculinity equals manliness. And they're not the same thing. Masculinity and manliness are two entirely different things. One is a integral part of the world and our relationships and us as human beings, and one is some concept grown from fear and oppression in itself, oppression of the femininity in men. It's this kind of manliness is like, I must be macho, and it's I hate that masculinity and manliness are sort of married together, and they're two different things. What were we talking about?
That's amazing, fantastic. Yes, the idea that, in essence, this masculinity is what the world needs. It's that part of the yin and the yang. It's that driving force. But what a lot of guys do is, because they, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing you say is that because so many guys feel a bit lost, maybe, like they can't relate with women anymore, like they don't know where they stand as men, is that they've adopted these ideas of what it means to be a man, which is so far removed from what you consider as a woman to be important in your man. So they're chasing, whatever it is, they're being childish, essentially, is what you're saying. Is that right?
Yeah. It's what is it? Maybe the way I kind of see it, maybe it's the same kind of thing as putting women on a pedestal where they have to be perfect and they have to look like models, and they have to have their entire lives together, and they have to not be crazy, but be kind of wild, and just this, just your typical social media ideal of a woman. Sorry. And I think maybe that goes, it's kind of, it's gone the same way for men. There's this sort of, it's always outwardly focusing. That's how I see it. It's like they have to be outwardly focusing, have to be focused on their goals, and that in turn destroys the kind of, you can't have a relationship when you're focused outwards. You have to have the ability to focus inwards and, work on the stuff that's immediately there and in between you and now. And obviously you have to plan ahead, and obviously you have to have some kind of goal in your life. Otherwise, you kind of float through life, with no purpose. But I think we've got ourselves into this situation where we are thinking, we're imagining the ideal, and we're imagining what we have to be like rather than just doing it. We're expected to fulfill this role, and that's not what having a relationship is.
I love what if I was to just cut in there, I love what you said earlier as well about the fact that you actually just want to, at this period in time, your ideal of a dream life would be having your farm in Wales. To put it into context, Meg and I grew up on this, in the middle of nowhere in Wales, in the sticks, and I have fond memories all the way through my childhood going around into a garden, putting goldfish in the pond, and probably all dead now, I think, but
probably.
Digging up, yeah. So, and I love what you're saying, that basically happiness is not X, Y, or Z. It's completely personal. Yeah. So it feels to me that what you're talking about here as well is that in order to be a man of excellence, you need to know what your happiness is. You need to know what makes you happy, and you need to know how you can bring that happiness to your relationship and use it almost as fuel to really kickstart that relationship and maybe make it into something quite beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like if you know what your happiness is, then you'll be able to find the person who feeds that, who can help you feed that, and in turn you can help them find that. And I think I think that's right.
Well, yeah. I think we're running out of time here, Meg.
Okay. What a shame. I'm enjoying this conversation.
Well, we'll keep going for a bit, but I wanted to find out if there's anything that you wanted to address. I know that I'm sure the guys and the girls listening will realise that Meg's got a fantastic mind, especially quite scary in many ways when you're relating with her sometimes, because it feels like she's looking right through you. But is there anything that you'd really like to bring up, Meg, in terms of your past experiences with men, or anything any challenges that you're facing at the moment that you think would be quite interesting to discuss?
Challenges I'm facing at the moment. I mean, this has brought up so much stuff, honestly. It's crazy. God, I mean, okay, so you always hear about my antics with what's going on in my life at the moment. So I am seeing a guy at the moment who is a chef. And you know what? It's scaring the shit out of me. I'm absolutely fucking terrified. And the poor boy is having to put up with so much shit because he is he completely the opposite of like the way that I think. I'm sort of so, spiritual. It sounds horrendous. And he's very scientific. And we're having these arguments, and I can't explain to him. I really want to be able to make him see how, see the kind of magic in the meaning in the world that I see, that I've been brought up to see. It's just an integral thing to my worldview. And I got to say, I really struggle with that with men. I think men are very experienced. They want evidence before they make up their minds, and I think women are much more intuitive. Gross generalization, apologies, but I think women go by their gut a lot. And I think men are much more, obviously someone has to be much more evidentially based, and I'm struggling at the moment. It's frustrating me, sort of not being able to, because he's not open to it, and hopefully he doesn't hear this, because he's not open to it. And I think opening sounds so cheesy, but opening your heart to, even if you don't believe it, but it's what the other person believes, and even if it doesn't touch you in the slightest, it's saying, okay, well, I hear you. I hear that's your experience, and you know what? That's beautiful. It's beautiful that you feel that you see that in the world, and being able to just say, I see you, I hear you. It's not what I believe, and maybe I don't get it, but that's okay, because you're allowed to have your opinion, and you're allowed to think like that, and that's what makes you you, and that's stunning, and I love that about you, but I think one thing I will say is that I'm enjoying it, because he's much more immediate than anyone I've ever dated in my life. It's scaring me, because he's focused on me. He's very focused on me. He's very immediate. He wants to look after me, and that's terrifying. That is, I've never had that before in any of my relationships. It's always been me looking after them. They've always been this kind of wounded animal that I've had to mother, and and that's my problem. I think that's it. I think that's just be open your heart, and
Can you,
see them for who they are.
Are you able to go in a little bit more about that, as to when you say he's immediate?
I don't know. I've been trying to I'm trying to figure this out. Why does this, what is it about him? But I think it's that he's not. I think it's that I don't have to do the taking care of. I'm not. It's not that he's taking care of me, and I'm trying my hardest not to be complacent. It's that. I don't know, maybe it's because, I wonder if it's because I'm only 22, and I've only ever dated students, and students don't know what they're doing with their lives. And he's been a chef for 5 years. And I feel like it's because he's kind of established himself in something that he's passionate about. And even though he cooks all day for assholes, and his boss is an asshole, and everyone's an asshole in the hospitality business, he still comes home, and on his days off, he's like, cool, what can I make? What food can I make? And he's like excited about it. And I love that. I love that he has that passion. And I think this comes back to what I was saying earlier, is that he has something in his life that is important to him, and that somehow grounds him, and means that our relationship can be, it's not focused on what next, what else is there. It's, I want to share this experience with you. I think that's, maybe if that makes any sense at all.
Wow. Well, Meg, I'm sure you've blown away half of our listeners here. But I think that might be an interesting place to leave it for now.
Yeah, sure.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to give my contact details to the listeners, and if they have any questions or would like to ask you anything, they can email me, and I'll bring it up with you. And then maybe we can have like a Q&A with Meg in future episodes.
Okay.
Okay, great. So, Meg, thank you so much for coming on board. It's an absolute pleasure, darling. I love you to bits.
I love you too.
So, you can sign off to the listeners if you want, and we'll leave it there.
Yeah, well, thank you for listening, and I hope it makes some kind of sense.